In a psychological session with Dr. Juliet Bryce, Lauraai Wright takes part in a word association exercise, responding with the opposites of the words she's given.
Rage. Ancient history.
At night, Lauraai, alone, slips out of her clothes and steps into a pool. Moments later, her lifeless body is found drifting in the water as emergency responders rush in. Before 18 hours, in the hidden part of a spaceship, Lauraai meets with Stokes, a shady figure known for trafficking contraband. In a dimly lit room, he offers her a glass of wine and hands over a small, wrapped item.
I'll be in my cabin at 2100 hours.
That night, a party is held to celebrate the 51st anniversary of the ship being launched. The ship that consisted of 600 volunteers when it first launched in 1963 was part of a secret US mission, Ascension, created at the height of nuclear fear to send humanity toward Proxima Centauri and secure its future among the stars. Lauraai attends the party and catches sight of her sister Emily, speaking closely with Orrin Galt. Emily is married, but her connection with Galt is clearly more than professional. Seeing an opportunity to stir the pot, Lauraai boldly kisses Galt in full view of her sister.
Yeah, I'm just not feeling it.
A young girl, Christa, notices Lauraai's absence from the gathering. She searches the ship until she arrives at the pool, only to find Lauraai's body floating lifelessly in the water.
Lauraai!
Elsewhere, Harris Ensman visits his father in the medical wing. The elder Ensman has recently suffered a stroke.
Dad.
A nurse casually mentions another visitor is still nearby. Suspicious, Harris steps outside and confronts the man, demanding an explanation.
Why are you harassing my father? You're the son.
The visitor introduces himself as Mark and says he means no harm. He speaks with admiration for Dr. Ensman's legacy, explaining that he's completing a doctorate on early space exploration, inspired by the very same work that shaped Harris's life as well.
It's tragic to me that most people don't know who your father is.
Mark brings up an old buried secret, Project Ascension, a deep space mission allegedly launched in the 1960s under President Kennedy's quiet backing. He insists the technology of that era was capable and that the program was more real than most would believe.
I mean, you can't go faster than the speed of light, so the original crew would never see the new world.
Harris, however, is unconvinced. He doubts that such a bold initiative could have survived the usual governmental failures and inefficiencies. But Mark presses on, urging him to look into his father's past work and speak with his former colleagues.
This is real. The world should know.
Back aboard the ship, shortly after Lauraai's body is recovered, an investigation begins. Galt, alongside Emily's husband Duke and Captain William, is brought to assess the scene. While Dr. Bryce points out trauma to the head, Galt notices marks on the wrists, suggesting she had been tied up. Captain William, determined to prevent fear from spreading among the crew, asks Galt to keep the investigation discreet.
Clear. Okay.
Meanwhile, Christa remains deeply shaken. She's admitted to the medbay and given a sedative to ease her nerves. But, as she lies in bed, her body starts to tremble uncontrollably. She repeats strange phrases.
In the glow room.
Concerned by her worsening state, Dr. Bryce administers another dose to calm her. Elsewhere, an anonymous figure scribbles a chilling message on the wall: "No future."
We all have to deal with the fact that we have no control over our destiny.
Galt begins combing through security recordings in search of answers, but he hits a dead end. The beach where Lauraai was found isn't covered by cameras. Footage from nearby hallways offers no clues either. No one is seen entering or leaving.
Pull video from the commons, track her movements, find out where we lose her.
Yes, sir.
As he is watching the footage, Emily calls Galt. She reveals that Lauraai had been romantically involved with a man named James, someone from the lower deck. On the night of her death, Lauraai had been with him. Emily admits she had tried to talk her sister out of the relationship, but when Lauraai threatened to expose Emily's affair with Duke, Emily chose silence.
Lauraai could be selfish at times, but not cruel.
When the autopsy is completed, Doctor, Juliet Bryce delivers the findings to Captain William. The report reveals two key facts. Lauraai had been physically intimate with someone shortly before she died, and a small bullet had pierced the roof of her mouth, clear evidence of murder.
Alright, let me know if any new information comes to light, okay?
William turns to Galt with this information. Startled, Galt agrees it's serious enough to report to Earth.
Anyone else gets hurt, it's gonna be on you.
Afterward, Galt heads to the library, hoping for more insight. The librarian, Ophelia, tells him that Laurelai's last borrowed item was a tape related to year 31, the year her parents died in a tragic fire. Oddly, she returned the box without the tape inside.
The video card. She kept it.
Elsewhere, Juliet rushes to check on Christa, who has gone quiet and withdrawn. When she arrives, Christa calmly compliments Juliet's necklace, but the conversation quickly takes a darker turn. Christa claims there's no life beyond Earth and warns that continuing the journey means certain death.
That's life. That's where we have to go.
Back on task, Galt's team manages to locate James, the man Lauraai had been secretly seeing. James admits they argued on the day of the party because Lauraai didn't want to be seen with him. He insists they never reunited that night and denies any physical relationship with her.
Well, I guess I wasn't the only one on the edge with her then.
Hoping Christa might know more, Galt visits her. She tells him Lauraai went to the beach because she was afraid, but not of James, who she believed was kind. According to Christa, Lauraai thought she had uncovered a deeper truth. When asked how she knows, she simply says that she feels it.
I think I know things.
What kind of things?
It's hard to explain.
Later, after checking James's alibi, Galt lets him go, but something doesn't sit right. He double-checks the footage and spots James heading toward the beach. Galt meets him there and questions him again, but James denies any involvement with the missing tape.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Still skeptical, Galt investigates the beach area more closely. His search pays off. He uncovers a hidden passage. Christa, still reeling from everything that's happened, slips away to the star deck, a quiet open space above the ship. She feels as though something invisible is watching her.
Stop watching us!
Back on Earth, Harris receives word of the murder aboard the ship. His assistant, Carrillo, urges him to notify the director, but Harris refuses. Exposing the truth now would cast a shadow over his father's life's work, something he isn't willing to do.
They're used to being unsafe.
On board the ship, Galt and Duke go through the hidden passage deep in the lower decks. Inside, they find NF painted on the wall, along with what looks like a book of poetry. Closer inspection reveals it's actually a notebook.
Real good.
Bloodstains on the floor lead them to the site where Lauraai was likely killed. When they bring their findings to Captain William, he recognizes the notes as detailed schematics for the ship's navigation and water systems, both of which suffered mysterious failures recently.
Sabotage. Who are they?
We're not sure.
Realizing the threat is serious, William authorizes a full search. Guards begin sweeping the lower levels. Stokes, unwilling to cooperate, rallies others to resist. Before the situation can escalate, an emergency alert cuts through the chaos. The ship is heading straight into a powerful radiation storm. Everyone is ordered into their pods for safety, but there's a critical problem: the blast shields won't deploy. Galt scrambles to find someone from the lower decks with the know-how to repair them. Amid the confusion, James pulls Nora aside. He tells her that Lauraai once hinted she'd hidden something at the beach. Together, they search beneath the surface and eventually uncover a jar buried underwater. Inside it, the missing tape.
What is it?
Meanwhile, Juliet checks in on Christa, giving her medication to calm her nerves. She also leaves her necklace with the girl, hoping it will offer some comfort. As the storm closes in, crew and passengers rush to their radiation pods. Christa sits alone in hers. Her eyes flicker open when someone in a hazmat suit enters. The figure reaches out and takes Juliet's necklace. Thanks to a lower deck electrician, the shields are finally repaired after a tense struggle with a faulty circuit. Soon after the radiation storm passes, the ship settles back into routine, but the calm doesn't last long. Galt hears that Stokes gave Lauraai the gun from the electrician. William learns about this and he gives the order to search Stokes' work area. The search turns up a firearm hidden in a bucket. Stokes insists he's being set up, but he's taken into custody anyway. During questioning, Stokes admits he gave Lauraai the gun, but says that's where his involvement ended. He doesn't think she was afraid, he believes someone else was. Someone saw her as a threat.
It's who was afraid of her.
Not long after Christa finds Galt and hands him a medal she discovered in her room, she says Lauraai had left it behind, a gift from her boyfriend.
Thank you, Christa.
Then unexpectedly, the door to Stokes' cell swings open on its own. He slips out, retrieves the hidden weapon, and vanishes. With the case seemingly closed, a funeral is held for Lauraai. Her body is sealed in a coffin and released into the void. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Harris faces consequences. Director Warren, having learned about the gun, is furious that Harris tried to keep it quiet. She reminds him that the entire project exists at her discretion.
Put it this way, your life and the life of this project have the same expectancy.
Aboard the ship, Galt confronts William about the medal. He knows it belongs to the captain. Pressed for answers, William admits he had a relationship with Lauraai, but firmly denies harming her.
You have to believe me.
Before the conversation can go further, Stokes appears out of nowhere, holding Nora at gunpoint. He insists he's innocent and says he found a footprint in his workspace during the storm, proof someone else had been there. Suddenly, the airlock begins to open. In the chaos, Galt dives at Stokes while William pulls Nora to safety. As the pressure builds and the air is sucked out, Galt grabs hold of the wall. Stokes, unable to secure himself, is pulled into the void. But instead of dying, Stokes lands on an inflated cushion inside a large hidden facility. He's immediately sedated and taken away by waiting personnel. Watching from above, Harris stands beside Director Warren. He assures her that everything is under control.
From the movement of the stars to the flushing of the toilets.
The truth is revealed. Ascension isn't in space at all. The ship is part of a massive Earthbound experiment, sealed inside a high-tech structure. The mission is a simulation designed to test how humanity might survive a deep space voyage. After being captured, Stokes is subjected to a battery of psychological tests. Though he insists he's innocent, he's treated like a dangerous lunatic and locked away. Elsewhere on the ship, hidden within one of the generator rooms, an unidentified figure writes no future and plants an explosive device. Back on Earth, Harris is talking with a government investigator named Samantha sent to investigate the murder. He is not happy about it and thinks it is not going to work because she can't even go to the crime scene.
I'll file my report and I'll be out of here in a few days, a week at most.
Down in the lower levels, Nora watches James as he works nearby. A friend nudges her, teasing about her clear affection for him. Their moment is interrupted by a senior crew member who quickly picks a fight with James. The argument escalates until it erupts into a full-on brawl. Not long after, the bomb goes off near the Terra Lab. The explosion rocks the ship, wounding several workers. Thankfully, there are no deaths. Outside the ship, Harris and Samantha witness the blast from their control zone, forced to step back as automated systems release fire suppression gas and vent the flames.
15 present and accounted for, 12 others in use throughout the ship.
We should round them up.
Inside, Galt, William, and Duke arrive at the scene. They find the familiar graffiti once again and decide to downplay the incident, telling the crew it was a mechanical malfunction. Meanwhile, Samantha tries to speak with Stokes, hoping for answers. Instead, he lashes out, attacking her before guards pull him away. Still convinced Stokes is innocent, Galt digs deeper. He tracks down Dwight, the engineer responsible for the generators, and questions him about the blast. Dwight panics, assumes he's about to be arrested, and knocks Galt out before fleeing the scene. Later, Samantha contacts Warren. She tells her that Harris is insisting the explosion was just an accident, but she doesn't buy it. Something's off. Warren finally admits that Samantha's real assignment is to uncover the truth behind the entire experiment. Solving the murder is just the surface. Elsewhere, Christa confides in Ophelia that something dark is approaching.
I'm scared.
While Galt recovers in the infirmary, William and Duke arrive with an update. Dwight has vanished, and it looks like another generator has gone missing.
He's making another bomb.
Nora, worried about what is going on in the ship, confides in James, sharing that she is worried that their future is not guaranteed.
I never said I didn't want to believe in the future, I just don't know if I can.
Galt shares a disturbing discovery. His research into the tragic events of Year 31 suggests that the fire that killed Laurai's parents wasn't an accident at all. It was caused by another generator bomb. Dwight couldn't have been involved back then, he wasn't even born. Galt believes there's been a secret group sabotaging the ship for years, and Lauraai likely found out too much. That's why she was silenced. But William refuses to accept this theory.
Focus on the task at hand. Find Crouch.
Soon after, James finds Galt and gives him the tape Lauraai had hidden. He also shares a critical lead. Dwight is hiding on Deck 23, the same place where the Year 31 explosion happened. Unaware that Galt is heading straight for it, Harris begins to panic. Deck 23 is in such poor condition that outside noises might bleed through the simulation. He quickly orders his team to stay silent until Galt leaves the area.
No unnecessary conversation or movement.
As Galt explores the deserted deck, he spots an old toy rocket lying in the dust. The sight stirs painful memories. His parents died in the same explosion that claimed Laurai's family. Back in the control room, someone accidentally makes a sound, sending vibrations through the structure. Galt pauses and knocks on a wall, listening closely. It could be an echo or something more. As the memories of his childhood come flooding back, he recalls how his mother shielded him from the flames that day. Deeper inside the ruined deck, Galt stumbles upon both the bomb and Dwight. Before he can react, Dwight shoves him aside and activates the device. He reveals his motivation. Stokes was his father, and Dwight blames the ship's leadership for his death. Outside, Harris, aware of the unfolding crisis, orders the evacuation of the control team, prioritizing the integrity of the project over Galt's life.
The choice is between saving a man and the entire project. That's no choice at all.
Inside, Galt throws himself at Dwight, wrestling him for control of the detonator. After a tense struggle, he manages to snatch the remote and shut down the bomb just in time. During the fight, Dwight's oxygen supply is damaged. When Galt makes it to the exit and decompresses the chamber, Dwight is left inside without air and dies. In the aftermath, Samantha uncovers a hidden corner of the internet, a conspiracy website documenting the mysterious disappearances of multiple scientists tied to the project in the 1960s. Intrigued, she reaches out to the site's owner. That same night, Christa dreams of Juliet's necklace. Meanwhile, Harris returns home and quietly gives the necklace to his wife. A few days later, the crew lines up for their annual injections. When it's Christa's turn, she panics and refuses, crying out that the shots are poisoned. To calm her, Ophelia steps forward and takes the injection herself. Within moments, she collapses into seizures. Samantha demands an explanation, but Harris claims Ophelia had a rare allergic reaction. The shot was formulated specifically for Christa, not her. In the infirmary, Christa confides in Juliet and Galt. She feels responsible for what happened to Ophelia. She explains that she had a dream about someone tampering with the vials, and Ophelia had stayed with her out of kindness. In the dream, she also saw the same man with Lauraai in the ship's tunnels, an event that later proved true. Christa is certain the man is still somewhere on board. Meanwhile, Harris reviews footage of Christa's breakdown and is stunned by what he sees in her biometric data. He notes a genetic pattern they haven't encountered since 1983, when a similar subject reacted violently after missing their injection. That subject's immune system turned against itself. Harris fears Christa may face the same fate. Elsewhere, Samantha tracks down Eva, the woman behind the conspiracy site. Eva shares her findings. Dozens of scientists vanished during the early days of the project. She believes the government used a Cold War-era education initiative to recruit or abduct families into the program. One woman Eva interviewed has spent 5 decades searching for her daughter, convinced that the truth lies with a figure known only as Abraham. In a covert attempt to administer the injection, the crew mixes the formula into Christa's milk. But she senses something is wrong. Without breaking eye contact with the surveillance camera, she deliberately spills it. Juliet checks the medical supplies but finds no signs of contamination. After she leaves, Galt stops by to visit Ophelia, and moments later she suffers another seizure. Later, Christa is alone on the beach when a man approaches, syringe in hand. He's an agent working for Harris, sent to ensure the shot is delivered. When Christa tries to escape, Harris triggers a lockdown, sealing the exits. The man corners her in a lab, but during the struggle, he injures himself on equipment. As Christa fights to break free, her fury peaks. Suddenly, a nearby light bulb explodes from the force of her mind. Later, Christa crosses paths with Galt and shows him the dried blood on her clothing, proof of her recent attack. Juliet collects a sample to run against her internal database, though the results will take time. She's also concerned about Christa's elevated white blood cell count. Galt tries to reassure her, paying her a personal visit to convince her it's safe. Christa agrees to consider it. But when Juliet's husband, Robert, arrives later to administer the shot, everything changes. Seeing him triggers something in Christa. She pulls away, now certain that she's seen him before. Then she recognizes Robert as the man from the tunnels, the one who was with Lauraai. Robert acts fast, sedating her with the injection and turning to the surveillance camera, clearly shaken. Harris, however, is unfazed. Soon after, Robert updates Galt. The blood on Christa's clothes belongs to Juliet's lab assistant. Guards rush to detain the assistant, but it's too late. They find him dead in his quarters, having taken his own life. A large wound on his arm matches Christa's account of the attack. Harris tells Samantha that it's clearly self-deletion, not a murder, but she's not buying it. She lays out the mounting evidence she's been collecting. Stokes might have been right, the gun may have been planted, and she believes someone loyal to Harris is behind the assistant's death to pin the blame and silence him. Harris denies any involvement. Meanwhile, Galt informs William they've searched the assistant's quarters and interviewed everyone they could. Nothing points directly to the saboteurs. The prevailing theory is that the assistant was overwhelmed with guilt for injecting Ophelia with the wrong compound. A few days later, the crew holds a celebration to help morale. Given recent losses, the computer has authorized 3 couples to conceive children in order to balance the population. That night, Christa wakes up to the sound of soft, echoing laughter. She follows it down a hallway until she's face to face with Lauraai's ghost. On a massive screen, a recording begins to play, exposing Lauraai's affair with Captain William. The ghost urges Christa to look away. Christa is overwhelmed and screams. In the control center, Harris watches the footage and is pleased. Christa reacted before the video even started. To him, it's confirmation. Her abilities are advancing. According to Abraham's theory, this is morphic resonance, the manifestation of psychic traits passed through generations. Christa is the result, the goal the project was always aiming for. The next day, Juliet brings Christa in for further testing. Christa tries to explain what she feels, describing it as holding back an entire ocean, something immense just behind her mind. At the same time, Samantha meets with Carrillo to learn how relationships work aboard the ship. While Carrillo speaks, Samantha quietly steals his access card. He explains that the system doesn't allow personal choice. Partners are selected by the computer for genetic compatibility. The same applies to reproduction. To prevent unauthorized pregnancies, crew members are implanted with contraceptives, but some remove them. Children born outside the system, called unclaimed, are sent to the lower deck, just like Stokes' son, Dwight. Their conversation ends abruptly when Harris walks in. Warren has read Samantha's report, and she's clearly not happy. Meanwhile, a nurse delivers medication to Stokes. Sensing an opportunity, Stokes overpowers him. Samantha sneaks into the holding area to question Stokes. Instead, he ambushes her. While Warren and Harris argue elsewhere, Samantha regains consciousness in a storage room, tied up. Stokes is packing stolen clothes and a blade. He demands she take him to the captain, still convinced he's aboard a real ship. Harris realizes Stokes had escaped. Samantha leads Stokes to the hangar, and it's there that she reveals the truth. Galt checks in on Christa, still undergoing a battery of tests. He also questions Robert about the leaked recording, and Robert admits the file was uploaded using Captain Williams' access code, something that doesn't add up. Meanwhile, Christa continues to hear a voice calling her name. Emily is chosen as one of the few allowed to have a child. After her implant is removed, Duke speaks to her about their future. He asks if she truly loves him, clearly aware of her feelings for Galt. Emily's silence confirms his suspicion, and Duke storms off to confront Galt. As this unfolds, Samantha escorts Stokes away from the facility. Suddenly, men loyal to Warren arrive and arrest Harris. With Harris removed, Warren assumes full control of the project. Elsewhere on the ship, Christa encounters Laurai's ghost again and follows her to the beach. There, Duke goes to Galt and indulges him in a violent fight. Meanwhile, outside the simulation, Stokes stumbles upon a memorial listing all the passengers who supposedly died aboard Ascension. When he sees his son's name, he breaks down. Trying to stop Galt and Duke, Christa loses control and releases a surge of raw energy. Duke is electrocuted and the shockwave spreads across the ship, triggering a massive shutdown. The surge even reaches the facility outside, killing several of Warren's men. Warren accuses Harris of orchestrating the event, but he denies it. He explains that what they witnessed was Christa's power, something beyond their technology. This, he says, is the evolutionary leap Abraham had predicted. Intrigued, Warren orders Harris to be released. Back on the ship, Christa locates Galt unconscious. She channels her power to wake him, but disappears immediately after. Before passing out again, Galt catches a glimpse of Duke approaching. As Stokes is confronting Samantha, a guard finds them. Working together, they overpower him and escape in a stolen car. Warren tasks Harris with restoring power to regain surveillance. Harris opts to reroute energy from the ship's nuclear reactor. Though the power is down, the crew believes they're drifting through space. Unknown to them, Abraham had hardwired the Starlight screens directly to the reactor, preserving the illusion. As everyone is rushing to fix the problem, James notices strange visuals on a monitor. On the run, Samantha starts bleeding, so Stokes stops at a store. When a clerk refuses to give Stokes a painkiller without a prescription, Stokes loses his temper and threatens him. Harris discovers that the signal jammers aboard the ship were added years later, well after the simulation began. This revelation suggests the illusion is more fragile than he thought. Warren tells him to investigate and sends Carrillo along. Back on the ship, William organizes damage control. James alerts Robert about what he saw, but he brushes it off as a glitch. After sending James away to find his daughter, Robert quietly severs the feed, cutting off any outside broadcasts. Inside the ship, the medical bay is overwhelmed as crew members begin showing signs of hypercapnia, a result of the broken air filtration systems. William and Galt descend to the lower decks to repair the carbon dioxide scrubbers, only to find them unsalvageable. Harris comes to the same conclusion. Fearing for Christa's health, Warren sends a man to retrieve her directly. Robert calls Harris to notify him about someone coming in. Harris reveals that it is out of his hand and orders him to get Christa out of there. Meanwhile, Samantha and Eva, having regrouped, go back to the motel. Eva shows compassion towards Stokes until Samantha realizes she never told Eva about the lower deck. In that moment, she understands the truth. Eva has been working for Harris all along. Her conspiracy site was a trap, designed to discredit real leaks by making them sound insane. Before Samantha can act, Eva shoots her. She then pursues Stokes, but he escapes through the bathroom window. Later, Robert finds Christa on the beach. She tells him Lauraai revealed the truth, that none of this is real, and that she'll soon be taken away. Sensing danger, she waits by a nearby door. Robert catches up and confesses to killing Lauraai, claiming he did it to protect Christa from becoming another lab experiment. Just then, Warren's agent arrives. William and Galt find a workaround. They distribute lithium dioxide through the vents, temporarily stabilizing the crew. But something strange happens. Galt begins seeing Lauraai's ghost, just as Christa had. Warren's henchman attacks Robert and grabs Christa. At this time, Lauraai leads Galt to the scene. He attacks the agent, and in the chaos, Christa unleashes her power again. Both Galt and the agent vanish in a blinding flash. Every surveillance feed goes dark. Warren rushes to the control bridge to assess the situation, but before she can react, Harris pushes her over the railing, killing her and reclaiming control. Galt, who awakens in an unfamiliar landscape, barren, alien, and vast. Disoriented and alone, he stares out across this new world, realizing he has been transported to an entirely different place. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.